Let me hear you, Blake.
Test, test, test. Hello, hello.
Can you hear that over there? Can you hear me over there?
No.
Not at all. See if that speaker's turned up. Turned up?
Yeah, it's turned up, but I think it's what this.
Down there where the speaker's plugged in.
I got you now.
What about now? Can you hear me now?
Yep, I got you.
Okay.
All right.
Go. It's time for the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Blake Sloan, one of the top real estate agents, not only on the Grand Strand, but in the world. He's been featured in Forbes Magazine, the Wall Street Journal, NBC, and other publications. And now, the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan.
Good morning, everyone. Brand new show this week. I'm back in the studio. I'm talking to Rick here. It's out 2 weeks in a row. That's like the first time in, I think, 5 years since I got married that's happened. And that was the only time because I got married in the Virgin Islands and then had a honeymoon right after. So back in the studio. Apologize about that. Had a amazing business event conference in Florida with my coach. We sit down quarterly, plan out quarterly goals, targets, processes, challenges, things we got to have, and it's super intense. So did that a week before then. I was out of town last week with my family. So back in grinding, pushing hard, lots of great stuff to talk about. All kind of interesting things happen in the marketplace. I'll tell you, it's a brand new show. It's wild. We're really digging into those two types of numbers. So we have the brand new market numbers in. We talked about that last show. And then we got the micro market numbers in last week. Obviously, I wasn't here for those. So we'll go through. And they're interesting. And they're pretty positive, which is great news because we saw, significant increase in sales. But we're in this wild ride where, if you remember, the closed sales, they were really 36 days prior to that. And so mid-February to March, right, we started seeing rates go down. I got a 5.99. Market was going crazy. People were, super happy, excited, and boom, all of a sudden, the Iran war starts. We're at day 90 something now, and it's created massive problem for interest rates, massive problem for inflation, and that's in turn made interest rates go up, which has slowed buyer activity a little bit. And so it's a very interesting market. If you remember, though, I predicted this about a month and a half ago. Sent a whole video to every client I had. So look, we got a small window in the spring market to make sure you can capitalize on it. I still think we have one more window here in this next really 2 months that'll be very beneficial for us because number one, Myrtle Beach is very, very seasonal. Grew up here my whole life, born and raised here. I was always taught you make the hay while the sun shines, right? And particularly that comes between Memorial Day, Labor Day, right? That's just how things are. I remember I used to joke all the time as a kid in the wintertime, the red lights would be flashing yellow because there's no one here, right? But it's not as bad now, but you can watch the graphs and the sales are up really in May, June, July, right? Those are the three biggest months you see in terms of sales. But here's the crazy part. So we're looking at some data this week with my real estate coach, and there's a big challenge that's coming up with inflation, the new Fed, Fed Chair and Fed Reserve. And so right now there's a significant chance they're going to raise rates in September, which we both know that the market builds that in, it cooks it in ahead of time. So you're going to see mid to late summer rates potentially go up even higher than they are right now, which obviously we know that doesn't benefit home sales very well as rates go up higher. So if I'm thinking about selling, I want to do it earlier rather than later. I'll talk about that for two reasons. Number one, seasonality. Number two, rates going up. As rates go up, we're going to see things slow down. And so I'll break that down, the data for you. Obviously, I'm a big nerd on data and help our clients make the best decisions on both real-time data, what's happening in front of you, what's closing behind you. So we'll dig really deep into that this week overall as well. We'll forecast the summer market, like I mentioned, kind of like what to look for, what the dates are, what we're going to see happening going forward. And on top of that, some of the areas are really struggling right now. Some areas in the country, particularly Florida, Texas, right? Those are really kind of struggling still month after month, even at, kind of the heels of lower interest rates because there's so much inventory. Some of those markets you can watch every single week or more listings, more listings, more listings. We were just talking about in my office yesterday with Barron on my team, one of our top agents. There's the most condos on the market right now than over a decade. And so that's a challenge, right? It's over 10 years since we've had this amount of condos in the market. And so what does that mean for you, right? It means you gotta be super competitive. You gotta make sure somebody can help you get property sold. If you're holding on something that's losing value, you may want to do that sooner rather than later. We'll break all that stuff down with you. But on top of that, right, it's still things are rock and rolling pretty good. For anybody that's hustling, obviously a very difficult marketplace, but anybody that works hard, pushes hard, hustles hard, exactly what our team does, we're getting massive amounts of results. We'll break that down. Some amazing success stories. In addition to that, I'm on a huge recruiting push right now. If you're listening to the show, you're an agent watching online, and you're thinking about, hey, I want to do better in my business, want to do more business. We have the absolute best training system process, I feel, in the country. We have 5 different coaches that coach our team in different aspects of, what to do, business, sales, real estate in general, data, health and fitness, all that stuff to help our team really perform at the highest level and really be optimized and empowered. And on top of that, the absolute best training sales system that's in-house to allow you to make sure that you have your schedule done right. You can really be aggressive and follow up and how you follow up. We have a lot of AI, both helping follow up with text message and calling, things like that. So if you're thinking about selling or thinking about getting into real estate, reach out, call me. We have a full scholarship we're able to offer right now. You go to sloanscholarship.com. And as everyone else is kind of pulling back and taking, a step back and cutting spend, we're still pushing forward, doubling down. And so that's kind of who we are. It's what we've always done. It's how we capture market share. And that's what really made us the number one team in real estate here in Myrtle Beach for almost 2 decades. So if you're thinking about that, reach out. Also, if you want to come back and watch the show, we have one single goal in this show, and that's really to provide value for you for everything real estate related to keep you in the know. My hope and my job is to help you make better decisions with your largest assets, and that's exactly what we hope to do. So if you want to come back and watch these, go to YouTube, just type in Blake Sloan Radio Show. You can go to Facebook, stream. We stream there. You can follow me at Blake Sloan or Sloan Realty Group, but make sure to stay tuned. We got lots of great stuff we'll talk about today's show.
For any new listeners, just to give you an update on just who Blake is, it's an amazing story. Industry leaders have dubbed him the real estate whiz kid. Been featured in Forbes, Wall Street Journal, NBC, Realtor Magazine, and many other national publications. He has been personally endorsed by Sean Hannity and Glenn Beck. One of those by itself is an accomplishment, but all of them together is unprecedented. Last week, we learned a little about how you and your team work and how a good portion of your success has come from the trademark systems you have developed to help both buyers and sellers here in our market. Recap quickly for anyone new to the show what those are exactly, and a quick overview of how they work, Blake.
Absolutely, Rick. And that's just like the DNA of who we are, what our show is about, and really the whole why behind why I do it. And it just gets worse and worse. As the market gets more difficult, it gets worse and worse, right? Because here's the thing. It's the whole reason I do the show. Been doing this for 15 plus years on the station. And really, it's very similar before because it's still the same mistakes everyone make. I can talk about some really cool, shiny object stuff, but it doesn't really take place of what the major problem is in the industry and what the number one problem with consistently is, even to people that listen to the show. And so the problem is that almost every single consumer makes this massive mistake of thinking that all real estate agents are the same, and it could not be any further from the truth. Just like any doctor or lawyer, right? You charge for a crime you didn't commit. The last thing you want is a part-time attorney who's tried a few cases who your friend recommended, or the last thing you want is the cheapest attorney, that you just search by price, which is what for some reason people do with realtors, and they don't realize it costs them way more money on the back end. Same thing with doctor. Right? If I have a life-threatening illness, the last thing I want some doc in the box, down the street. I want the absolute best doctor who specializes in that type of medicine to give me a competitive advantage so I can live, right, or be healthy or recover. Same thing for the courtroom. So if you go to the cheapest lawyer, you're going to jail. It just is what it is, right? And so you want to understand that same process is true with real estate because it's a service-based business. But not just that, there's 2 main things that make a big difference. A very long sales cycle, meaning there's lots of things that can happen that can go right or go wrong that make or break your home sale. In addition to that, right, it's just humans involved. And so their level of detail, attention to detail, how will they execute, what their plan is, all those things matter. It's much more than just, hey, I'm going to put this thing in MLS and hope someone sells it. And that's how most people view it. And particularly for some reason, people in the high-end homes, they view it that way, and it really costs them a lot. They think like the housewife down the street is the best option. Meanwhile, she has zero marketing budget. She just knows a few people, gets a couple of listings, puts MLS, and never actually sells it. Just gets sold through someone else, and they left money on the table. And so you see this happen all the time. And so what people don't realize is 118 different variables from A to Z. If each one's handled correctly, right, puts money in your pocket, property gets sold. Anything's handled incorrectly, AKA they dropped the ball at any point. Looking at one yesterday where it just listed with somebody else, I don't know, 4 or 5 months, they came to us. The picture's absolutely horrendous. And here's the crazy part. The first 6 pictures of the house were all the exterior, different angles of the exterior. The first photo of the inside of the house was actually the front hallway looking at the door. And I showed my whole team this as an example. We were kind of just what we call debriefing. And the reality is, like, how many buyers out of 100 do you think actually went through all those photos to the 7th photo to actually look at the inside of the house? And almost all of them said 9 out of 10 left and went somewhere else. They searched by elimination. So if that agent doesn't understand marketing, understand psychology, They don't realize that pictures 2, 3, and 4 have to sell them and look at the rest of the photos, which allow them to consume that listing, which differentiates that from the other ones, which the only goal and outcome we want at the end is for them to click that button for a showing. I don't care what agent they use. If it's on Zillow, Realtor.com, whatever it is, or an agent site. I just want them to like it enough and sell them enough on looking at the rest of the photos to be able to go look at that. And then once I get them in the property, that's when they know if they like it or don't, right? And so what I'm good at is increasing eyeballs, increasing traffic, and increasing desire for them to go look at the property. I can't force them to buy the property. The consumer knows in 2 seconds if they like the property or not. My job and what I'm really good at is driving more traffic to that property and really executing on the back end. And so what people don't realize is it's simply impossible for one single agent to juggle all the balls. I mentioned there's 118 of them, right? And that could be anything from pricing strategy, like I mentioned, photos, quality of the photos, order the photos. Does the agent actually have time to answer the phone for buyers that inquire on the property? Do they call them back? I've talked previously before, and you can go watch on my documentary at blakesloan.com. How there's a survey where a company called 3,000 real estate companies in North America, and less than 50% answered or even called back the buyer who is trying to buy the property. And so that's not because agents don't want to. It's because their business model is flawed and broken, and they don't have the ability or time to actually call people back because they're busy juggling other 117 different balls, right? 118 total. Let's say one of those is buyers calling in. And so what we've done is there's got to be a better way. The old school model is that agents are juggling all the balls, right? So they're working with buyers. They're trying to show them around 15, 20 properties. They're working with 5, 10, 15 buyers at a time. They're also trying to get listings. They're doing the marketing, doing their closing coordination. They're doing their photos. They're doing the showings, all this stuff. And so what you end up having is a broken, flawed business model where you have one agent who's juggling all those balls. It's like working at McDonald's in the front register, the drive-thru, and the French fries at the same time. Very, very inefficient, which is why 50% of properties don't sell, which is also why consumers are very unhappy at the back end in most cases, even if it does sell. And it's not because the agent's a bad person. It's because they just don't have enough time in the day to everything needs to be done in today's marketplace. That business model worked very well in the 80s, early 90s with less technology, less things that need to be done. And the reality is it's impossible for one person or even 2 people to do. And so when I got in the business, I'm like, there's got to be a better way to do this. And if you understand most real estate offices and companies, the only difference in the companies are how they pay their agents. The process is still the same. You basically have a bunch of independent contractors who don't care about each other, who are not in alignment. And so the problem is they don't actually work together to sell anything. And so I create a business model and I flip the whole model upside down. So we have alignment within the organization. We have a team of specialists where each person specializes in what they do so we can execute at the highest level to create maximum leverage for our clients. So I broke down the 118 variables and built a team around that with 2 main things: technology, massive amounts of technology, so we can hold accountable to people of what they're supposed to do when they do it, and then have great people to fill those gaps to make sure they can execute the highest level. We have an inside sales team. Massive amounts of phone calls they make every single week to set appointments. We have an outside sales team, 25 plus agents, particularly 25 plus buyers agents. They're making about 14,000 phone calls per week, matching up buyers and sellers. Their job is to bring buyers to our sellers. And that allows us to increase visibility and sell properties faster, more money. We have also full-time listing coordinator, 2 closing coordinators, full-time in-house videographer, photographer, full-time graphic design, all that stuff there so we can execute the highest level. And with that team of specialists allows us to have much higher output, which gives you, the seller or the buyer, a much better competitive advantage in the marketplace. And so what we do is we stack all those dominoes up. We create a small gap point 1, small gap point 2. You knock all the dominoes down. At the end, we create a massive gap between us and everyone else. That's how the properties sell faster and for more money. The system I designed that really runs that, it's called the Guaranteed Sold System. The only proven system sells twice as fast and for 20% more money than traditional methods, and it works very, very, very well. For buyers out there, guess what? 100 plus variables for them too. They're make or break the home sale or purchase. And so we create a system there called the Unfair Advantage Home Buying System. You probably access to foreclosures, your stress sales, desperate sellers, the absolute best negotiation and purchase price, as well as the home inspection to get you that close table successfully. And then from there, we were your real estate resource for life. Anything you need, electrician, plumbers, whatever it is, we got you taken care of. And so if you want to know more how they work, and they give you a massive competitive advantage and how you never, ever want to gamble with your largest asset, right? People just pick a random agent online. We talk about this all the time. They'll spend 20, 30 years building a hard-earned equity in 15 minutes picking an agent. It's the last thing you want to do. And so if you want to know more and really see behind the curtains of how this industry works and how it really costs people a lot of money, I put together a great documentary. It's at blakesloan.com. You can go watch it right now after the show. I'll take a quick break right back here in a second.
be here with the only real estate agent in your market that I recommend, Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. Now, thanks for joining me today. A lot of real estate companies are making instant offers these days. What makes yours different from what they're offering?
Hey, Sean, that's such a great question. The massive difference is we actually buy your house. Most of those advertisements you hear, even on the same station, are wholesalers. They're just there to lock your property up at a discount price and try to assign it to someone else, make money off your hard-earned equity. Then they leave you hanging at the closing table if they can't find someone else. They never had any intention of closing. Most don't even have the money to close if they wanted to. We're local, we have millions of dollars, and we actually close the deal.
All right, thanks for keeping us up to date. Find out how much demand your home can command right now. Call the agent that creates the most demand. Call Blake Sloan today at 808-SOLD or online at blakesloan.com. That's blakesloan.com. And consider your home sold.
Hi, I'm Barbara Corbett. I'm excited to connect with Blake Sloan, the only real estate agent in Myrtle Beach that I recommend. You offer several options to home sales, which really takes away the stress.
That's right. For sellers in time crunch, you're here to sell it by a certain date, pay cash for the home, or even rent.
That's great. And if the seller has a bit more time,
We use our proven marketing plan to sell it for the highest price.
work with my friend Blake Sloan and get your home sold on your terms.
Welcome back to Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Brand market update, all kind of interesting stuff happening here. So we'll dig through a couple of different pieces of the puzzle here. And it is very interesting. This is the whole reason why we track two main numbers here. And today's we'll talk about three main numbers. But when we talk about what we call the front windshield numbers, that's what's happening real time right now. And it's actually not bad. It's pretty decent. It was super hot on fire just like about a month ago, as rates have really crept back up, has created an issue for us. But and we'll see that, I think, probably get a little bit more difficult. But we also have what they call the close numbers, and those look really good. They actually look better than the real market, is doing, because rates have gone up. New pending deals are starting to slow down a little bit, and so you're seeing some headwinds, so to speak, into the marketplace. So you really want to make sure you're digging down and kind of understanding, hey, what's going on. But for good news, we'll talk about the overall front windshield numbers. What's happened last 7 days? And so pretty good, actually. Last 7 days, 558 properties under contract, which is great, for $226,488,000. Last month we were at 647, 244 million. So about 22 million, about 20 million more. And let's say, what about 90 more properties in a 7-day period? That's pretty significant, right, in terms of the jump overall. But some big stuff still moving, which is great in terms of numbers. You break down and kind of look at it in the last 7 days. Big, large commercial property in Georgetown on Jessamine Avenue, $3 million under contract. Another one here in Devereux, top two in Devereux, $2.95 million under contract, $2.495 million under contract in Devereux. One here in Grand Dunes in Riviera, Serena Drive under contract for 1.915, which is awesome. Another Pawleys Island, 1.895. Another one here in Grand Dunes Members Club, 1.849 under contract. So some great stuff going under contract here. Not quite like it was before. We were seeing $3 million properties a week going under contract overall. And so this one was commercial, but we're seeing it's still pretty decent in terms of volume over, like I said, 558 under contract, 226 million, 488,000. Anything over 200 million is rock and roll. And so that's great news for properties under contract. Again, we're down about 90 properties per week from where we were, which is where we should be ideally if rates would have stayed where they were. If it had been stayed where they were, it would have been amazing. Right? Very, very tough December, January, February. Things did great into February to March. Things started rolling and rock and rolling. You can just watch pending deals kind of slow as rates have gone up. We'll talk about what rates are right now in a couple minutes. Down just a little bit since Friday, which is great news overall. If you look at closed sales now, we'll kind of get to that. There's a couple nuances here. If you look at last month, it was just like a rocket ship going up, which is great. So year over year, sales up 9.7% for resale homes, which is amazing. Month versus month, it went February 362, March 493, and then April 543. So significant jump there overall in terms of the amount of homes that sold. So great news. And again, that comes on the heels, right, with March and April on the heels of those low rates that hit late February. Sales price holding strong, pretty decent, up 0.1% right now at $503,000 for average sale price, still down significantly from where it was in its all-time high at $555 in December. If you look at median price right now, it's pretty flat. It's at up 0.8% at $393,000 even overall. Inventory has actually crept up a little bit to 5.1 months. Yes, last month was at 5.0 months, so not that big of a difference. Average days on market has gone down, which has been great. Again, that has to do with interest rates. Average days on market right now, 108. It was at 123 in February, so still pretty good overall with that. The main challenge we're still seeing is just traffic, right? Buyer traffic. Right now, the average listing in MLS, the entire time it's listed, which is typically like 6 months, gets 3.8 showings per listing, so less than one showing per month they're getting. How many showings does it take to get a contract right now? 13.1. And so you can see the problem there when you look at the math, right? Average listing gets 4. You need over three times the amount of showings than the average listing gets to actually get a contract. And so that's something that we'll keep watching overall with that. And if you look at kind of condo market, if you get a quick overview with that, condo market holding on decent. Closed sales up 1.5%. From the same month last year. It's flat month versus month. So March 408, April 407. So not a big change there. Prices though, down 10.6% from last year for median price, $219,000 right now, which is down 10.6%. If you look at average sale price, down 4.7%. In supply, crazy, right? So highest amount, we're seeing 8.7 months overall. But if you look at the actual amount of homes for sale and you take it back, it goes all the way back. I'll do the quick let's see if I can do the quick 10-year thing. The last time we had this many was back in 2016 I'll tell you right now, was back in June 2016. So right on that same time period. So you're talking literally right on the money for 10 years ago, the last time we had this many condos. So what does that mean? If you got a condo sell, you want to really track two things. Number one, you want to get an agent who has differentiation, and get the property really pushed hard. If you go in the average agent, when there's that much inventory, you are totally screwed, right? They're just going to put MLS and price one brings a buyer. What happens is, in a declining market where you're seeing prices decline over 10%, right? We're talking year versus year. If you have a $200,000 condo, you just lost 20 grand right there in equity. And that's continuing to go on, which is a major challenge. And so when you look back at that, really want to make sure, okay, how do I make sure I differentiate? Because I also want to get correctly priced on the front end, because what happens is, let's say you price it not too aggressive, a new listing comes, what they start doing in the declining market, they price below where you're at, and it starts going backwards pretty quickly. And so make sure you differentiate. Obviously want to make sure I'm probably getting to a more stable asset. That's my opinion, because I don't see them fixing the major problem with condos anytime soon. What's the major problem? We've had massive amounts of increase in assessments. We have massive increase in insurance. HOAs have gone through the roof, which make the cash flow issue really a challenge. And if you add on top of that, the decline in rental income for most are down 20-30% in most cases. That makes the cash flow even that much more difficult. A lot of people got into the Airbnb business are getting absolutely crushed right now. And so not saying that's everyone, but that is something to watch out for. And so if you're thinking about that, I would definitely take advantage of the summer market here. Had a conversation just last week with someone like, well, I want to get my rents for the summertime, and then I'm going to put it on the market. I'm okay, that's great. Well, what happens when the investors don't want to buy the property in the wintertime because there's no rents coming in? Are they going to pay you more money for that or less money for that? Less money for that. Okay. Are they going to give you maximum dollar? Probably not. Okay. So I'd rather just kind of maybe get a little bit less rents, get maximum dollar, my equity back out of it, so I can exit the asset, move it to something a little more stable long-term. And so that's obviously a case-by-case basis, but I do watch those and see so much data and so many sales, right? We're selling 500 to 800 homes a year the last 6-7 years. Lots of homes. I see everything every single day, right? I see patterns very, very well. And that's something we'll keep watching overall. Really quick, I'll hop into the quick micro market. It's the hardest one to do on radio, so just bear with me on that. But it's important. Everyone kind of wants to know, what's my zip code doing, right? Obviously, the one that leads the charge almost all the time is Myrtle Beach area, 29577, 29572. Good news is closed sales last month up 7.1%. Year to date, sales up 6.5%. Prices of last month down 10.2% last month. Now, again, price is a lag indicator. Your price that bounce back up this next month. Based on what we see in terms of sales. So that's kind of what we'll watch on there. But 10% drops pretty significant for single family homes in downtown Myrtle Beach. If you're looking at year to date, prices down 3.9% from 548 to 527. Inventory, the amount of homes for sale in Myrtle Beach up 12% last month alone. Condos in Myrtle Beach, median sale price down 12.4% last month, down 12.3% year to date. Sales last month down 6.5%. Sales last month were flat. New listings down 6.5%. Closed sales up 5.1% last month, which is good news overall. So downtown Myrtle Beach marketplace for condos, not doing too bad. Look at North Myrtle Beach area. Closed sales down 7% last month, but year to date, up 11.2%. So you want to break that down month versus month. Median sale price for North Myrtle Beach up 10.7%. So you're seeing a 20% swing there between Myrtle Beach and North Myrtle Beach, which is why this micro market data matters so much. $506,000 was the median sale price last year. Right now it's $560,000, which is awesome news. Year to date, median price up 3.3%, which is great. Average days on market, though, is up, which is crazy. You're seeing that price go up. Average days on market right now up 26%. So for a house to sell in North Myrtle Beach, on average, if it does sell, it takes 134 days to actually sell. And so that's something you want to keep in mind. Obviously, you want an agent who can do better than that. Condos and townhomes, closed sales last month in North Myrtle Beach down 26%. From 107 sales down to 79. Year-to-date sales down 18.3%. Median sale price is up 8.9% from $315 to $342. That's great news. Year-to-date from $293 to $327, which is up 11.6%. So that's good news there. And so you can see this big difference in some of these data points. It's so important that you have an agent who understands the market, who's dug in, can really break it down to your type property, what you're selling, in the time frame you're selling, and obviously we break it down per neighborhood as well. Looking at Little River, which is down 566, sales up 20.4%, which is great news. Year to date, that was month versus month. Year to date up 2.1%. Prices though down 5.1% from 355 to 337. Year to date, prices down 5.1%. To 337,000. I was just thinking, man, either these type is getting smaller or my eyes are getting worse. But days on market up 27% from 106 to 135. Not many condos there in that area. Lowers and longs, sales last month up 2.5%. Year to date up 7%, which is great. Overall pricing, median price up 1.1% last month at 310,000. Year to date price is pretty flat right now at 296,000. Last year, same time, 294. Overall, days on market's not too bad. 124 days on market's actually down from 129 last year. Carolina Forest, this is an interesting piece of data right here. It's one of the key parts, right? Myrtle Beach, Carolina Forest really kind of lead the charge. Closed sales last month down 31%. Year-to-date sales in Carolina Forest down 28%. So again, has to do with inventory. Remember, a lot of new construction was there over the last couple of years. You're seeing that kind of drop a little bit. Median sale price up 19.8%. Which is awesome, from 433 to 520. Year-to-date price, 432 up to 490, which is a 13.3% increase year-to-date, which is awesome. The average days on market for a property to sell in Carolina Forest for a house is 129 days on market. Soxie area, sales last month up 11.8%, which is great. Year-to-date sales up 3%. Prices up 1.9% last month from 357 to 364. Prices year-to-date, Soxie area, 350 to 362, up 3.4%. And the average days on market to sell in Soxie, which is 29588, 113 days on market. Surfside Beach, where I grew up a lot of my life, closed sales last month up 23%, which is awesome. Year-to-date, 3.8%. Prices up 1.6% overall. And then really quick, last part here into Myrtle's Inlet Garden City. Sales last month down 9%. Year-to-date down 17%. Prices up 2.7% at 500,000. So what you can see is it's all over the place. Very dynamic. What's that mean? Just reach out to an expert. Reach out to us. I have a free tool online. You can get instant home evaluation at blakesloan.com. It gives your own stock portfolio. You can watch equity real time. Rates right now, 6.59%. A little bit high for sure. We'll keep watching that. One thing I'm thinking of, if you want to get your property sold, do it sooner rather than later. I do think rates will probably go up here mid to late summer, and that's something we'll watch out for as well. Less than 1 minute left. All right, really quick, active home buyers. I have 83,412 active home buyers. If you're thinking about selling, we're spending 6 figures a month in advertising, driving traffic all across the globe. Reach out to me. We have buyers in waiting. We have software that matches up buyers and sellers, and a sales team makes 14,000 phone calls per week. And so we're aggressive in what we do. We don't apologize for that. We're here to make sure that we get properties sold fast for the most amount of money. If you want to be that person, reach out, call us, 843-808-SOLD. You can also watch a detailed documentary about how we operate and really behind the curtains at blakesloan.com. I'll see you back here same time next week.